Hello guys, and today this is going to be I'm going to be showing you my controller settings for F1 23. As I've seen that a few people in the comments of my videos have been wanting to know some of my controller settings, so I thought I'd give you the video. And now, my controller settings are a bit unique, but it's just how I like them. So it's mostly about preference. So honestly, choose settings that you that suit your style of driving on this game, but you can use mine to help you out if need be. So assists, I run everything off except racing line, which I have in corners. I put all the high vis line just so it stands out and you can see it easier. Better for the braking zones. um, with camera settings, they're the camera settings I use. If you notice, I've been flicking through them camera settings to find the best one for me, but I feel like this is probably the best one for me. If you wanted to, if you're a TV pod user, there's also these camera settings, which I use sometimes for TV pod, but I prefer TV pod offset now, so I just use TV pod offset. So that's what they are. Remember to turn down, big key is to turn down camera shake all the way off, and also if you're on TV pod, turn camera shake and camera movement off, because you just don't need them. They're honestly a useless setting, and you just need to turn them off to be quicker at this game. I'll also be, and now with my controller binds and controller settings, generic settings. If you wanted to do anything that, for me, I prefer. Well, I use a PS5 controller, so I prefer the adaptive triggers off. ERS on toggle that hold is just a waste of time, and you'll be losing quite a few tenths in race conditions if you're in hold, but unless you like hold, then use that, but I prefer toggle. And then if you're using wheels, that's for wheel users because of the issues, so we don't need that setting. And now with my controller settings, all the binds are they roughly the exact same, except I use L1 and R1 to gear up and gear down. I just prefer it. I've used it since like start of F1 2021, and ever since I've just not liked using the X and square. I just find it a bit awkward. Same clutch, same as X. I prefer to not have a next camera button because I just use the same camera settings most of the time anyway. I use L stick for DRS because I just feel like it's more responsive. As you're already on the L stick for turning, you could quickly just tap the button when it comes to the DRS zones when it's activated lap 3. Pit limiter is triangle, but you don't even have to use it anyway if you just go under the speed limit. You don't need to use it. I use the radios square. I mean, like I said, this is all just preference. You choose whatever you want, but this is alright for me. As I use overtake for X. Yeah, it does. Even though you use X for the starting grid, I like to use X for overtake because, as I say, it's an easy button to press. And also in the start, if it actually does lock on for overtake, then you can get a little bit of boost on the line to maybe overtake some people, because the first lap is always the best lap to overtake, or the easiest time to overtake. Manual pit stop as X as well, but it's just easier as well. Honestly, it's just all preference. And all this is useless. I don't use any shortcuts, even though it might be useful. I just don't see the point in it, because for fuel mix you don't even need to change the fuel mix. Just do it manually. I think that's it for these this part of the settings. Calibration settings. I have steering rate on 160, so it's more responsive. As I'm on controller, the steering is quite pants compared to a wheel, so I have it so it's the most responsive when turning. It does get a bit of time to use it because it is quite responsive, so at first you probably will turn in a bit too much or too early, etc. But honestly, if you get after you get used to it, you should be fine. It's more responsive and you'll be quicker at going through the quick corners, i.e. the in sections like Silverstone with the Maggots and Beckett section, and also the S section at Suzuka, for example. I don't have any dead zone. They only need dead zone if your controller's got a bit of an issue with it, or it's not as responsive. I put linearity on just to make it a bit less sensitive because for more control. Because to be quick on this game, you have to be more precise. So I put a bit of linearity on it to be more precise in the turnings. Throttle, I have absolutely nothing on because I don't think I need it at the moment in time. It's all good. Can control the wheel spins quite well, so you don't need to put any linearity in dead zone, and also you only probably need to put saturation on if the R2 button is a bit worse for wear after you've used it quite a bit. So then you probably put up to like 5. Probably 10 is the best if you do having issues getting to maximum throttle. Same with the brake. No dead zone you needed. Brake is... I thought it was a bit too sensitive for my liking at the initial point, so I put some linearity on. But if you're struggling with the braking and you need it to be more sensitive, then up this up to probably around about 10 as well. You don't need it any higher than 10. If you need it any higher than 10, then there's probably a bit of an issue with your controller, or the button that you're binding the brake to. So yeah. I've already done this. My vibration settings. I have vibrations, not to the max, because if all of them are to the max, I feel like it's awful. And especially with the PS5 controller, I think it's a lot stronger compared to the PS4 controller. So I've only put that to 125. On track effects, I'll put it on 40, so I can still feel it, but it's not like too strong. Rumble strips, I put it on 1, so I can feel it slightly when you're over them, but I don't want to like the controller shaking out my hands, as the PS5 controller's got a lot more feedback in the vibration terms compared to a PS4. Off track, I've put on none because you don't need to be off the circuit anyway, and if you're off the circuit, then probably need a bit more practice on the old game. Wheel damper, I'll put it on 50 to have more because as it sees there's strength of the tyre force through the racing wheel, as the controller. So yeah, I can feel the front tyres a lot more, and if you're understeering or oversteering, if you have this up, I have it on 50, I don't have it on the maximum because you don't need it on the maximum 50s. You can feel a lot more strength just as 50s is. You don't need it on the maximum set of 100 because I feel like it'd just be a bit too awkward, so I have it on 50. And then for the maximum wheel rotation, I have it on just under the bog standard of 330 because the more you have the wheel rotation, the more smoothness you can be, but the lower you can have it, it's more responsive, if you know what I mean. You can be more smooth through like the S section if you have it on a higher wheel rotation. It's corners like Suzuka and stuff. But if you have it on lower, going through like chicane parts, you can flick it in quite easily, so you can gain more time on the entry. And then supercars, I've just left it on that because I don't use the supercars. And I think that is everything on there. I think I've shown everything, assists, etc. Oh, and then here's my on-screen display. Got all this. I've got rear view mirror on, so I don't have to just look into the wing mirrors, because with the camera settings being closer, it makes the game slower, so you have more time to respond. So That's why I've got the rear view mirror on. And then this is my on-screen customizations. I'll leave on for a bit if you want to use it. I feel like this is just, as my camera settings are closer, I've shrunk everything down so I can see a bit more of the circuit, and moved everything so I could see a bit more. And I think that is it for the controller settings. I think I've done the settings for my F123 settings. I think everything should be alright. Audio settings is literally all up to preference. Music, you don't need really, to be honest. I think that is it, so thanks for tuning into the video. If these settings do help you out, then that's a bonus. Also, if you like the video, you can like the video and subscribe if you want to see more content that you enjoy, and peace.